My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. UFC Vegas 30 Gane versus Volkov is Saturday, and there's no fights next week. So again, there's a great week to make a bunch of bets and make a bunch of money. I'm going to walk through my bets. Dan's going to walk through his. You're going to see some really cool, fun prop bets on here with some crazy odds right out of the gate. That teamer value of 3.5 points. Go to weonpicks.com/bets, and you're going to get some of the best prop games on the planet. So let me walk through mine. I've got a bunch of money line, a couple props, and no parlays this week. Money line, I have Alexander Volkov at plus 150. I do think he wins. I know a lot of people think he wins. And what's funny is I know a lot of you are worried that a lot of other people think he wins. It's a very bizarre dynamic, but I think his length, his reach, his style, maybe a bad matchup for Gane. I think he's going to bounce in and out, stay in his face, use the reach, keep him at bay. And I think Volkov is a bad stylistic matchup for Gane. Then I have Ovince St. Preux in the co-main event at plus 150. Listen, he lost to Ben Rothwell in his first outing at heavyweight. This is his second outing at heavyweight. But honestly, I thought he looked okay against Ben Rothwell. He got out-slothed. Ben made him slow, and he is slow, and he doesn't have a ton of volume. But I do think Tanner Boser will be in his face a little more, which will pull that out of him. I think it'll pull the activity out of St. Preux because when he throws, he lands, and he's got some power. So I have St. Preux at plus 150. I only put a half a unit on that. Then I have Kennedy Nzechukwu at minus 130, one full unit. That is striker versus grappler. Nzechukwu has power for days, can knock anybody out at any moment, and we saw that in his last fight. Then we have his opponent, who's a very solid grappler, but I do think Nzechukwu will defend those takedowns. If you look at his stats, he's defended an enormous amount of takedowns before, and I think this will be another one. He'll defend the takedowns. Maybe he gets beat up a little early, but he is always live for that knockout, which we saw in his last fight. And then I have Timur Valiev at plus 175. He's got a very tough matchup. His opponent is good absolutely everywhere, but Timur's wrestling is so rock solid. I'm almost positive he's going to win this fight. I love him at plus 175. But I only put a half a unit because he is a giant underdog, and there is a lot of risk there. And then I have a couple prop bets. I have Fili and Pineda under 2.5 rounds. The way that fight goes is Pineda's going to come out swinging like an absolute animal. He might get a knockout, and if he doesn't, he's going to gas, and Fili will probably finish him on the ground somewhere. That's how I see that fight going. I have Nzechukwu Marquez. I just broke down. I think Nzechukwu wins. I have that at over 1.5 rounds. I love the over on rounds there because usually it's 2.5, and 2.5 is a lot. But on 1.5, it's fantastic because I think Marquez is going to be looking for takedowns early, and Nzechukwu's probably not going to commit to anything. And then come the second round is when he's going to pick up the pace. So I'm perfectly fine with over 1.5 rounds. Then I have Moicano and Herbert under 2.5 rounds. Last time I misspoke and said over. This is under 2.5 rounds. That's why it's minus odds. Obviously, you get plus odds on the over. I think it's, they're both so slick on the ground, but Moicano is super, super slick on the ground, and I think he'll make something happen, slide in there and get himself a submission. And then again, I have Timur Valiev. This time I bought 3.5 points. So I think Timur wins straight up. But if he doesn't, this basically means I bought 3.5 points. If the fight goes to the judges' scorecards, I just need Timur to win a single round, and I'll win my bet. So he could lose the fight, but if he wins a single round, I'll win my bet. And that is the only place you're ever going to find that 3.5 bet is at weontpicks.com/bets. Grab yourself an option, sign up, and hop on one of these. Danny boy, you've got $200 million worth of bets here. Why don't you walk through them?
I got to make up for last week, all right? It was a rough week last week. Not to make excuses, but let me just start with the excuses. I was traveling. I was sick. Angelo's been on me all week. Now, all kidding around, I feel pretty good about this week. There's a lot of value across a bunch of different fights, in my opinion. So I've got it spread out, pretty evenly between money line, prop bets, and parlays. And I got a couple parlays that for people who were following a couple weeks back that are still live for some big odds. So first up, we'll start with the money line. I got Justin James at plus 147. We talked about in our individual breakdowns. I think stylistically, his aggressive power punching style is going to fare very well against Charles Rosa, who's lately been kind of more of a karate style. He keeps his hands low, tries to be in and out, but I don't think he's quite mastered that karate style defensively yet. So I think Justin James is going to put his hands on him and catch him with a shot. I also think if it goes the distance, James is a little bit unreliable, but I think he should win this fight. So plus 147, I got a unit there. Then next up, I got Kennedy and Chekwu minus 105. I got it slightly earlier in the week than Angelo did. It looks like now he's a fairly decent favorite. At one point, he was an underdog. I should have jumped on it
The
then.
line's open. Yeah, the line's open. He was a solid underdog.
Yeah, I got burnt by his opponent. I talked about it in length on one of our other videos. So I was either going to stay away from it just because I lost pretty big last time. What's the guy's name? Danilo Marquez. He burnt me pretty bad against Mike Rodriguez. I thought there was no chance he was going to win that fight. He got a quick takedown and dominated on the ground. I think Kennedy and Chekwu's defensive takedown capabilities will work well in this fight. I think striking wise, it's not even close. So I got Nchekwu minus 105. I got a unit there. Then I got Nicholas Dalby plus 112. Slightly less confident on this fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. Tim Means is very good. He's a gritty fighter. He's very well rounded. I just think stylistically, Dalby I think is a little bit underrated here. So to get him at plus odds, and what I think he's got a slight advantage in, to be honest, I'll take that from a value perspective. So plus 112, half a unit on Dalby. I like that for money lines. Then we got some prop bets. So we got some fun ones here. I got Ike Villanueva wins inside the distance, decision, no action. So this is one of those fights where I think both of these guys are going to try to take each other's heads off. I think Ike Villanueva has the better chance of doing the beheading versus the other way around. His opponent lost 3 fights in a row prior to his last win, all via first round knockout. And if you've watched Ike Villanueva fight, he stands in the pocket. He takes one to give one, and he hits hard. So I'm taking him at plus 145. And for some reason, if this does go to the distance, I get my money back. So I see him winning this fight via knockout.
And those are huge. So I mentioned earlier, you're only going to get some of these crazy prop bets at weonpicks.com/bets. That's another one. Wins inside the distance, decision, no action. It's basically insurance. I did it against Chase Hooper. I thought Chase Hooper was either going to get a submission or nothing. He did not get a submission. I got my money back. Perfect. I got to risk some money to win big on a submission. Doesn't happen. I get my money back. So you're getting plus odds on a bet that has 10 ways to win or 10 ways to get your money back. And the only way you lose is if Ike gets stopped. That's the only way you lose. So,
and he's got a really solid chin too. If you've watched some of his fights, he takes shots pretty well. That's Angelo nailed it. That's one of the reasons why we partnered with Bet Online specifically. We were talking to some other sports books, but they have the best prop bets. They get the lines the earliest. So from an MMA standpoint, if you guys are considering joining a sports book for bets, Bet Online, in our opinion, is by far the best, and largely because of these prop options. So the next one, Angelo talked about again earlier, the plus 3.5. I got Julia Stolyarenko plus 3.5 units at plus 200. So that means she can lose the fight. She just needs to win one round in what I think is going to be a very tough fight, especially in the first, where both are going to come out guns blazing. All she has to do is win one round, and I get 2-to-1 odds on my money. So unless she gets stopped, which again, in watching tape on her, she is tough as hell. She was a bloody mess in one of her fights in Invicta, I think it was, and she still hung in there. So plus 3.5 points. All she got to do is win a round. 2-to-1 odds on my money. I put a unit on that. I feel really good about that. Then I got Tanner Boser wins by decision. So I think stylistically, he's got the footwork and the speed at heavyweight to frustrate OSP, who has looked slow both at light heavyweight and heavyweight. And I think Boser stays busier. I think he's in and out. I think he's touching him. And I don't think he's going to go forward like some people do that allows OSP to land that big counter shot or that big knockout shot. So I see Tanner Boser winning a decision here. I also don't think OSP has the wrestling to get it to the ground where he would have an edge. So I like Boser by decision in what I think will be kind of a point fighting match that Boser will win. Then I got Renato Moicano wins inside the distance plus 110. So he's a heavy favorite, rightfully so. I think he's one of the best fighters in the UFC. He's had a couple losses recently where I just think he fought the wrong style fight. He went against Fiziev and tried striking with him. Don't get me wrong, Moicano is a great striker, but he's an unbelievable submission specialist, one of the best in the UFC. And I've heard from multiple people this guy is uber talented. So if he can get that takedown, which I'm hoping he goes out there and does against the lankier, skinnier fighter, if he gets a body lock takedown, I think he's going to get a sub early. So I played it safe and just did inside the distance for this one at plus 110. I put a unit on that. And then for my parlays, this is the one I talked about earlier. If you followed me a couple weeks ago, we were big on Paul Craig. We nailed that. He was a heavy underdog. I also have Justin James, who's about a plus 150 underdog. Parlayed those together at over 7-1 odds. So I got a unit there. I've already cashed. I've already won the first leg of this. So if Justin James wins, that's basically going to cover my poor week last week. So hoping for that Justin James win. That'll be huge for the week and just huge in general for a big parlay. And then I had another. This is kind of a fun one. I think it could happen. Again, you'll see by the odds. I wouldn't throw your whole bankroll at this, but you're getting 53-1 odds. So I got James first round knockout. We talked about it, why I think that could happen. And then I got Moicano first round submission. Talked about that, why I think it could happen. Now, again, you're picking round and method of victory, so rightfully so. The odds are huge, but I could see both of those happening in this fight. So for 53-1 odds, I liked it. I threw a small amount on that. Actually threw a little bit more, but I just for the sake of not wanting for people to blow money on some Hail Marys. Yeah, I can't control myself sometimes.
The way we do this is before we film, like, all right, Dan, give me your bets. And then I type them all up and then we film. And I was like, okay, you want me to put that on there? Like his actual, how many units he actually bet? He's like, no, they can't know. And then now you're just spilling the beads on yourself.
Angelo says, we don't want you to spend your money. We don't want to spend your money for you, but listen, I like it for a small amount, knowing that it is a Hail Mary. But listen, I think both outcomes are fairly likely. So for 53-1, I put a little bit on that one. So
I did. You had a rough week last week. You're coming back hard with the scratchers in the 40s. Right. You're just digging your heels in. You refuse to die. Either way, I do like.
You'll win event. You keep hammering black. You'll win eventually. You keep doubling down. Double down.
I do like. So I had a great week last week, but looking at yours, you and I are opposite on a few of these. Like Tanner Boser wins by decision. That's a great bet. Even though I have St. Preux money line. That's your bet's a better bet than mine, probably. Honestly,
just because the plus odds. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can't win them all, but if you make good value bets consistently over time, you'll be profitable. So even last week, where I had a rough week, I'm still super profitable on the year, even with that big last week. So again, this is the long haul type strategy, finding value in spots where you can. So
yeah, I do like.
And some spread your bets out. Take some of Angelo's, take some of mine. Angelo's got some good ones. I didn't do the value of bet at plus 3.5. Just because I think, I'm kind of rooting for the other guy a little bit. There's a little bit of bias, but plus 3.5.
He'll win a round, dude. He'll wrestle his way to a single round.
That's a likely outcome. So, spread it out. Way,
let us know what bets you like the best and go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Grab one of the options. Some of the options, they give you free money for signing up. Another option is we just give you money. We're straight up. I will send you $20 for signing up. Just make sure you sign up. make a deposit, and then let us know after you did. Let us know your favorite bets. Let us know your favorite picks, and we will see you on Saturday.
Send us too. Make sure you send Angelo the ID number when you sign up, because we can easily look you up by ID number to make sure and then we'll reach out to you and Venmo you your free $20. So, and you can do that also in addition to whatever match offerings they're giving you. So I think they give you 50% on your
Up to
first deposit
1,000,
bonus, up to $1,000. So you can do that. Send us your ID. We'll also Venmo you $20 for cash. Go buy lunch, beers, whatever you want to do with it, just as a thank you. So it helps us. We want to give some back. So appreciate everybody checking it out.
Yep. So check that out and let us know your favorite bets below.